JC, Jeff Chilton.
Hey.
How's it going, man?
Beautiful. It is a beautiful day. This is a beautiful house. I'm stoked to be here.
Appreciate you being here, man. I was really looking forward to getting you on the podcast. It's been cool to kind of talk with some of the different cats around town, and I really see you doing your own thing. It's really cool to see how JC Proof has blossomed.
See, I can see you almost slipped to the JC Poop. That's an inside joke, though. We can't talk about that on air. Well, at the rehearsal, you know?
JC Poop.
I don't want to talk about it too much because we don't want to get any ideas.
Okay. I like that. I like that. That's funny. Yeah, man, good stuff. I see just like you're just positivity. I mean, I've been trying to write a happy song my whole life, and I can't do it. I don't know why. Like, every time I try and write a happy song, I just can't.
Are you unhappy?
No, I just think it's my muse or whatever, but like, you radiate joy. Your music radiates joy, man. It's just like, it's cool. Like, tell me about it. Man,
I appreciate that. That's a beautiful compliment. I would say that most of the songs, well, I'm not sure which songs you're talking about in general. If you're talking about Backseat Boogie, that is Keith's and I's song, but it's Keith's story. And that song, while it radiates joy, is from a heartbreak. Do you know the story about that? All right, hopefully Keith won't get too mad at me for bringing it up. But basically, you know, Keith's on a date. He's on a date. Keith Cheek, by the way, sax player, although he plays flute on Backseat Boogie, which is on Spotify, so if you want to check it out. But he's on a date, but he doesn't have his own car. So, classy man gets his friend to chauffeur him and the woman to the wherever they went, you know. It's going well, he's interacting, he's having a good time with her. But the friend hangs around the bar. He hangs out a little bit too long at the date. Keith goes to the bathroom. Friend starts talking to the date.
Oh, no.
All of a sudden, you know, boom, 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 the night progresses. At the end of the night, Keith's chauffeuring his friend and the girl home.
Oh, no.
Hence, the Backseat Boogie. So you might think that song is this joyous song, but that's a song of heartbreak, my friend. And I think that actually sums up kind of what JC Proof is all about, because at the end of the day, it's like you can look at this world and you can look at your experiences and you can choose to feel destroyed and apathetic and solemn, or you can laugh, man. You can laugh, and that's the only power that you have, is how you choose to react, because good shit's gonna happen in your life, bad shit's gonna happen in your life, but okay, listen, your emotions are gonna well up without you controlling them. I'm not saying that you can control your body and your emotions, but you have a conscious mind that's separate from that feeling, and you do have the power there, and you can choose what to do with those. And I personally believe that if you manifest joy and positivity and laughter in the face of darkness, then you will be a magnet for that energy to you. And so my music is not all coming from a place of joy. Children of Love, we are children of love, you know, that's like this kind of beautiful hippie song. That's coming from a place of darkness, of making an error in my life and losing friends, you know what I'm saying? So they're not all coming from rosy cheeks like, oh, Jeff, he's always had a happy life. It's how I react to things.
Yeah.
And that's what people need to understand, because they have the power to do that too in their own world.
Yeah, bro. Preach, man, for sure. Hell yeah. I feel you too on that, like the happy song. Like if I have happy chords in a song, the lyrics will be dark.
Okay, yeah, it's like you're trying to balance it.
But a lot of times too, they'll be like this, like Time and Money. You know, it's like you know, but then it's like
that's a great tune, by the way.
Time and money. It's like that balancing that, but it's funny. Yeah, every time I try and write a happy song, it comes out just way darker than expected, which is fine. It's just I had to accept it. But it's like, you know, back in like Live Island times, I was like, 2010s, 2015s, you know.
Yeah, I love that music, by the way.
Thank you.
I've caught it on Bandcamp. I was late to it.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Because you reposted it. You like brought it back and you made it relevant again. And I really connected with it then. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Luis is making this kind of, to my ears, it was sort of prog rock.
Yeah, prog.
You know? And I grew up listening to Yes, from my dad. So you know, I'm not big in the prog world, but I really resonated with that. So.
No, I mean that's what we're trying to do. You know, that's what we were trying to do.
Right.
Past tense, but yeah, it's like at the time we were making that music and everybody was like into like EDM and stuff, and they were like, stop playing that depressing, you know, and just that's where it kind of like I went to my DJ self, is trying to figure out all the paths and just understand it. But it's funny because now the civil unrest and everything's so crazy. I'm like, man, I wish I had that like Rage Against the Machine style kind of band again. But at the same time, even though that matches the thing going on, like the ethos, like the
the vibe of the world and the vibe of your community,
I still think that what you're doing is what we need, because I just feel like I just don't want to add to the thing anymore. You know what I mean? The beast of just like everybody's you know what I mean? The hate beast, you know, like on all sides. I'm just like I just want to make some joyous like celebrational music, you know.
I was just talking to JP about this tonight. JP down at Botanist, because he's doing the Elevate Unity, and what we were talking about was. First of all, everybody should do what they need to do. Everybody needs to push society, the system, your community in the direction that they believe in, which, you know, to me is uplifting others, taking care of each other, making sure justice is heard, justice is there, that we have accountability, right? These are super important things. And if that means rage, if you're a warrior, great. Like, I'm super about it. But what JP and I were talking about was, you know, listen, I'm a musician, you know, he's a supporter of the arts, he's a creator of the arts, a musician in his own right. And like, we got to plant the tree. Yeah, sorry, pause. No, it's all good.
Hey, how's it going?
Not a good time, sorry.
Oh, sorry, I'll come back later.
We got Jehovah's Witnesses coming to the door down here. What's going on? I love it.
No, this is a salesman.
Oh, we should have invited him into the podcast.
I'm an Asta salesman. I'm like, yo, I know where the store's at. I'm been coming up.
They got door-to-door salesman still. I thought that was a thing of the past.
I don't like that.
It's wild. COVID, people coming to your door, strangers to your door. Anyways.
I'm like, bro, and the window's wide open. You don't see we doing something here. It's like, I'm like, yo, go. We just knock on the door anyway. Anyway.
We got a strong community down here in Milwaukee. All right, strong community. No, I was just saying that I was down at Botanist just now before I came over, and I was talking to JP, like I was saying before we started. And what we said in our conversation was that it's okay to plant the tree, to nurture the tree that creates the shade. You know, that's like an act of love and an act of creation. That's not an act of war or an act of destruction. And it's okay to be doing that, you know. And for me, music is about healing. My music is about healing, and it's about bringing people together. And if that's what people want, then they'll come and enjoy it. And if they're looking for something else, if they're looking for the war drum, that's super cool too, man. And you can find the war drum. We got plenty of war drum, you know?
Yeah.
And like, nobody's telling anybody what they should listen to or what they should vibe with. So for me, it's all about just resonating my truest self, and whatever that attracts, it will attract. And I just want to, you know, do that.
Yeah, man, that's strong. Yeah. I probably far too influenced by the mainstream, but yeah, it's just funny. It's like, you know, we were doing Live Island, and I was like, I feel like I chickened out almost, like I gave up on it. I was just like, and then everything shifted, and now I feel like now everything, like when everything was light, I was playing dark music, and now everything's dark. I want to play light music.
Yeah, you're like trying to complement it or be on the other side of the coin.
But I'm older too now, you know. It's just like it's almost like a I'm not a father. I don't know what it's like to have kids, but I just don't know how to express it in any other way. But like I feel kind of like in a fatherly way. I'm like, I want to be supportive and nurturing in the way their father can be, you know, and encouraging for people to stand strong and be the bigger man, you know, like encouraging, uplifting, and supportive. You know what I mean? Like, not just like, you know.
Totally. I think it's interesting thinking about being a father, even though you're not a father. And to me, you're just talking about tapping into some, type of energy, for lack of a better word, or some type of approach. Almost, it's like, yeah, you're not a father, but you're like, maybe you want to tap into that side of you that's nurturing and supportive, through your music, or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, what were you reacting to when you were making Live Island music?
George Bush, bro.
Yeah.
Really?
Good times.
That was when we were writing that music. But sorry, I didn't want to
No. That was a crazy time of corruption. I mean, really, Dick Cheney. George Bush was just puppet man. This story just repeats. I remember being in second grade and a kid next to me, I think, what was his name? We don't need to name names. Not like anybody will know him. I'm from upstate
Tommy
New York.
Flanagan.
Yeah. Boom. Hey. Shout out.
Whatever.
Shout out. No, Floyd. It's definitely Floyd's his first name. But, we're in second grade. We got the little magazine because they make you read political magazines in elementary school. It's part of your education. Or like, I don't know, you're doing like a news story write-up. And, it's got like George Bush. And then who was he running against? Kerry, right?
Yeah.
In the 2000 election. And it's like, my mom's voting for John Kerry. My dad's voting for George Bush. And now all of a sudden, I'm at odds with you. And it's like, I'm just not into it, man.
Yeah.
I'm just not into it. I'm not into the sports teams, Not
when it's our future.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, let's just talk about what's going on, All these figureheads, they're all puppets in their own way. I just got back from Vegas, where my parents are, and bless them, they're very much just. I hope I don't upset them, but they're baby boomer Democrats.
I love you.
Would love you so much.
My parents
Douglas
are too.
Cecile.
My parents are
Yeah,
too.
so it's like Biden gets elected, and they're like, whoo.
Yeah.
And that's that sports team thing where it's like one and done. My team won, so everything's great, and like we know that's not true.
You're like, he's just a politician too.
Yeah.
He's been a politician like his whole life.
Right.
Doesn't freak you out a little bit?
It does. And like, what was George Bush doing that you were reacting against this Live Island,
I mean, really is the war,
Right.
But kind of going back to the comparison from then to now, we're writing these songs that were like, America's gonna fall like Rome, because which is unreleased, but like the old Live Island, but it's like America's gonna fall like Rome, it's like, but my 20-something-year-old self, I'm like reading all kind of stuff about just like the long history, what I mean, and I'm just seeing the empires,
seeing those cycles that we're
like,
just attached to.
Keep doing this, and the ever expansion, and the everything, and then just watching them just drop bombs in the Middle East. I was just like, man, but at the same time, it was just funny to have that message fall on deaf ears, and then I grow to a place where I like don't want to beat the war drum anymore. I don't want to be like, oh, let's like Braveheart. I mean, not that I wouldn't if I didn't have to. If it really came down to it, but it's just like, I'm like, whoa, like, can we take a more careful approach? I don't know. It's like, what's happened to me, I used to be so revolutionary, but at the same time, it's like, I just think it's so much more important right now to like, to JC proof it, man,
I think you just got to play to your strengths. When you're 21, 22, you have the fire of youth in you. Like that, you're the warrior spirit. That's normal. That's what you are supposed to be when you're that age. Your cortex is not fully developed until you're 26, and that's okay, because if you're going to go into battle, your cortex should not be fully developed, because, bro, that's
you
crazy.
You want to perceive all that.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's your strength, and you and I want those people to be empowered. I support those people. That's the thing. That's the thing you have to understand is just because I'm making love music, just because I'm making positive music, does not mean that I don't support the tip of the spear.
For sure. Yo, I don't want to put you in that category, for sure.
Right, and I don't feel that you do, but I just think it's important, and it's like you should follow your strength. Like if you look at, you know, it's like a society is served best when we're all able to do the thing that we're most passionate about, and that because the thing that we're most passionate about is the thing that we're going to be most successful at, and the thing that we're going to be most beneficial with. And obviously our society doesn't let us do that because we live in an intensely capitalistic society where people are struggling to get by. But if we can think about it in terms of the leftist movement, right, as like a new society where we're trying to create a new society and people are fighting for change, within that new society and this world where we're fighting for change, again, people should be doing what they feel most empowered to do. And if that's making healing music where we can all come together, where maybe you can even reach out to somebody who doesn't know about the movement and say, hey man, come over, come sing Kumbaya with me. You know, obviously we're not singing Kumbaya, I'm not that far in. But like, you know what I mean? Like, why not reach out? Because then we can make the community stronger instead of building walls, right? I don't want to build walls in our community either. We talk about how we shouldn't have walls all the time, like as a political statement. Well, we shouldn't have walls within our own community that's fighting for change either.
Yeah.
But, you know, I also recognize that people are going to be in whatever circle that they feel most comfortable in, that they feel safest in, and that is totally cool. You know, people deserve to do that. They deserve to have that space. So I think you should make whatever kind of music you hear in your head, as long as it's not directly harming somebody.
For sure.
You know, obviously you can't have hate music.
For sure.
Not into that.
No, for sure. No. I mean, and obviously I've come to terms with my sound, you know. I'm not trying to... I've learned that I can't do anything else.
Right, but other than your most true, authentic self. Listen, have you seen the movie The Legend of Bagger Vance by any chance?
Maybe a long time ago,
Deep
but I don't
cut.
recall.
It's a Chilton family classic.
All right.
But, you know, Will Smith is in it. It's about, like, these golfers down in Georgia, and Will Smith just shows up. He's kind of like the God figure, but he's talking about your one true, authentic swing. And I'm not a golfer, so maybe it resonates more with me. If I was a golfer, maybe I'd be, like, picking apart the movie. But that concept, your one true authentic swing, I love that analogy. You know,
you could almost line it up to swing. You know,
hey, bang, 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 bang.
What's your 1-2 swing? Is it the slump? Or is it like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I do love to play especially like on the trombone. You know, capping it when I just hit that old school trad jazz swing. I love it, man.
Say you New Orleans.
I love it.
I
love that New Orleans sound. But playing that music is kind of like being the museum curator. You know, you're trying to do it right, just like they did.
Yeah.
You're not trying to necessarily be Jeff. Although some people, you know, especially in New York, where they're like a little farther cutting as jazz players, you know, they're like playing the trad swing but bringing in that modern harmony. But like for me, when I do it, I just want to sound like the records. You know.
For sure. Yeah. I know I saw some video of you, maybe it was on Instagram, and you guys were like in a restaurant or something.
Oh yeah,
and I was
doing
just
St.
like,
James Infirmary.
Yeah,
I know the one.
I was just like, hey, sup with it.
That's right. I love that music, man. It just connects with me. It speaks to me. Maybe that I'm just connecting with the ancestors, I would say, when it comes to that music.
I know I'm gonna get beaten over the head for this, but I actually just like don't love the trad jazz sound.
You're not alone, especially in Portland.
But I don't know. I respect it, you know.
Yeah. It's like going to the museum, you know what I mean? And I mean, same could be said about a lot of versions of jazz.
Yeah.
You know, straight ahead, Miles Davis, like first quintet Miles Davis, that's the museum too. Herbie Hancock modal jazz, a lot of people were playing that around Portland, right? That's more recent, still going to the museum.
For sure.
You know, that's the thing about jazz. I mean, that's why people said jazz was dead, because so many different genres of it have been played and people are just looking back and reflecting on it and thinking that they're doing the new thing, but they're really not. And that's another reason why with JC Proof, you know, we're bringing a lot of different elements. I call it earth jazz, because, you know, we're all jazz musicians. We've all been trained. We all like play standards too and stuff like that.
For sure.
But it's, you know, we kind of bounce around. We don't have any boundaries. We don't have any rules, because I think in this day and age, for me to be my authentic self and to make something that feels fresh to my ears, at least, it's going to incorporate a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's fly. Yeah, I love what you guys are doing. And, you know, same with like, you know, all these other cats around town, it kept me here, you know?
Yeah.
Making some fresh sounds, man.
I just was listening to Joseph Mammarolo and his fusion quintet, I think it was, quartet. killing.
Were they up there right now?
They were at Botanist. Yeah, so they're shout out.
Yeah.
But oh my god, crushing. So crushing. Fusion, which is an older style, but everybody's on their own branch.
But that's what I'm saying is like for me, like whatever style of music it is, I want to hear it as if like I was there when it was cool, you know? And like my ear, I can't figure out trad jazz. Like I know it's there, I just haven't figured out the right prism.
Well, a lot of it sucks. So, especially people playing it now. So that's probably part of the problem. But I would say the same is true about jazz in general.
For sure.
Most people playing jazz suck. And I mean, I've played jazz plenty of times and I've sounded terrible, so I get it. It's a hard thing. It takes a long time to learn it to be able to play it decent. Even when you're really good, sometimes you step into an arena that you're less comfortable with and it doesn't sound that great.
Man, the funeral marches, those are heavy though.
Yeah, like the... Totally.
Because there's like 3 different... I feel like I was listening to something one day and they were talking about how there's like 3 different funeral songs. There's like the sad one and then like a celebration.
Oh yeah, well there's like each song that you would do a second line. And I mean I'm not from New Orleans, so I wouldn't consider myself a full keeper of the tradition. But if you're doing a second line, the song starts with the dirge, the slow part, and then it breaks into that more upbeat swing. And the really famous one is ba bo be do day day da. And gosh, if I can't remember the name of that, well, it's escaping me now. But anyways, there's like some famous ones, where they do the 1-2 part. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I would love to participate in an authentic funeral like that because I just think that that's a beautiful way to look at the end of life. It's like you mourn and then you celebrate, and that's a great tradition. I love visiting New Orleans. I go down there. It's like my pilgrimage. I make a couple, once every other year. It's party city, amazing music, so many trombones. I'm a happy man.
Yeah,
happy
that's
man.
That's a brass city.
Yeah, it's a brass city for sure.
I
would love Portland to be known for music the way that New Orleans is, because they're not that different. Like they're both similar size, like New Orleans isn't huge, Portland isn't huge, it's not New York and LA, Chicago, but what a city like that has is they got the tourism and then they also have the density of venues. You can go down in New Orleans into the French Quarter and it's a festival every night because you've got like 10 venues right next to each other. And we just don't have that in Portland, and I don't know if we ever will, but
I mean, we almost did on from Mississippi down
Mississippi
Alberta
is
for
nice.
You know what I mean? Past Alberta Street Pub and then to Soleil's, it's just, you know what I'm saying? Like just that L shape.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be up and down that, seeing
Totally.
5 shows every night,
Yeah.
pretty much,
Yeah, but you still got to drive. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You have to be able to eliminate the driving factor.
Yeah.
Downtown Portland had a little bit going on in the Burnside area, but there was mostly clubs, less live music.
Yeah.
But with Dante's and then Star Theater, Paris Theater, Roseland, that's a pretty good density. But I'm talking
different
about
style shows.
Exactly, man.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Not as intimate, yeah.
Right, and it's not like you can't just pop in $5 cover and then swoop over to the other one. It's like, oh, I'm going here tonight. It's like a big ticket event.
Or when, I mean, me, but I like walking up to the door and you got your horn in the hand and the guy's like, oh, yo, just come on in.
Oh, there you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Love that.
That's the place I want to hang.
You want that preferential treatment.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? And
it's Luis.
The fostering of the scene.
Totally.
You got a horn in your hand, get in here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, because you're part of the show. Even if you're not on the bill, you're going to add to whatever's going on here.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people do have that vibe in Portland. I love the musicians in Portland. We're doing third Sundays at Alberta Street Pub, and the first half is a set. So it's been JC Proof. We're going to have Keith Cheeks Cheek Tet on May 18th.
Cool.
So he's going to be, I don't know if this will be out before then, but he's going to be doing his set. And then the second half's a jam. And it's great, man, because people show up, they come sit at the band table so they don't have to pay cover. Because it's a ticketed event, because obviously the musicians are hurt and they need to get paid.
Yeah.
But if you're a musician, you just come right in the side, sit at the band table. Now you get to interact with all the other musicians at one table.
Yeah.
So that's cool because you don't have to be awkward. You're already going to be sitting next to those people. And it was a beautiful thing to see people just chopping it up and playing with strangers again. I'm so grateful for that. It's been too long.
Yeah, bro. I've been watching that on Instagram. I've been wanting to come out, but I've just been busy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a sweet jam.
We're starting to make something of it. It'll be fun,
I And then Lucas was like, what the heck,
dude?
He's moving in.
Synergy.
I was just like, Drake comes over and she says, hey neighbor, just seeing, who's over the fence. And she's like, my partner, he's a drummer, and we're gonna be making some noise. And I said, oh, me too, don't worry about it.
You were playing the drums when I knocked on your door today.
Yeah, exactly.
I started going along with it.
Yeah. Because you walked around the corner, huh?
Yeah, and what we're talking about is Lucas, the drummer in JC Proof, my band, lives next door to you.
Yeah.
Which is just like, I know it's a small city, but this is kind of a random spot, down here in Southeast.
I was like, okay, my new neighbors, I'm literally already working on music with.
Right.
Essentially, you know what I mean? It's like, I was like, dude, I just this morning posted on my Instagram you playing drums. Like, you know what I mean?
That's beautiful. That's what we need. Like, proximity matters.
I was like, that's so weird.
I feel like you kind of share thoughts a little bit with the people that you're close to. Like, when you live in a city, you kind of are influenced by the thoughts of everybody in that city. Maybe that's kind of far out, but
no, I feel it.
Cities have vibes. And like they influence your creativity. You come to Portland, you're gonna kind of be creative in a Portland way.
And what's so cool is this corner. I don't know how we did it, because like these people are really cool. These people are really cool.
Yeah.
These people are cool. This guy's cool. I don't hear from him.
He's less cool, but still cool.
No, he's way cool. I just don't hear from him. But
maybe that's the coolest thing actually, is that you don't have to hear from him.
For sure. No, just like single dude, and he just like has a friend over every once in a while. I'll hear him like out in the backyard, but it's just like
chatting.
It's just this whole corner. It's like, and I'll walk around the neighborhood and I'll see some like kind of more little rougher spots, but it's just like everybody here. There's like love corner, it's good. Like,
well, let me know when there's a house for sale, all right?
That's why I'm yelling at everybody. I'm like, hey, you hippies, keep it down.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, it's too good, man. It's just too good.
Well, we'll see what you think after they get the full thing set up, because they're going to have multiple people living there. Yeah. It's going to be a whole little permaculture farm musician community. So
yeah, give me a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. No, I'm stoked because I used to do that. I was like talking to Brett. I was like, yo, I think that's going to be like Washougal circa 2010, because I used to live out in Washougal and we had this big piece of property and there was always people coming and going with
Lonely
big old
Islands
garden.
And wait, not Lonely Islands. Sorry, Lonely Islands is the Saturday Night Live guys.
Which is
I'm on a boat.
Which is our inside joke.
Oh, cool.
Actually.
Nice.
But Live Island times. Yeah, man.
All right, so you had a piece of property out in Washougal?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds nice.
Big garden, 30 chickens, goats. The band, or the garage, was fashioned into a band room. We like soundproofed the garage, even though we were renting.
Oh, put a lot of money into that, I bet.
My landlords were not happy.
Hey, come on, you're like, I built you a music studio.
You guys don't. This
is a profitable enterprise now.
You guys don't want the garage front door sealed? I don't understand why.
Musicians definitely do. Every musician's like, garage, studio space. That's what they're for, right?
We built like a hardcore like box inside there.
Nice. And that's where you recorded the Live Islands record?
No, actually, I recorded that in a bedroom, actually. Like this size, when I was living in Selwood.
Oh, nice. I love Selwood.
Man, it's crazy what you can do without a studio, man. Now that I've like been all the way through analog studio land onto tape, and now like...
coming back around.
Yeah, I'm like, actually... And that's sweet, like if you got the money for it, for the studio time and stuff, but like... You don't need that stuff. Especially, like, you don't need that stuff.
People who have some additional skills.
Like, whatever you record is going to be fine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like, it's just a matter of what kind of experience you're looking for. I would say for me, because with the JC Proof stuff that we have put out, we have gone into the studios. We've been using Map Room and Jackpot. Just love the people there. Great, yeah. Just fuck with them. They're just professional. Yeah. And, like, I would say... Okay, there were two parts of it. Number one, I think there's a little bit of a bucket list situation going on for me. It's like finally, got my own band. I've been a sideman for years, worked on the cruise ships, like came to Portland, coming up on the scene, playing in all these projects. Now it's my band. I want to do it right, And so like part of it's the experience. And having done that, and then having also made some really awesome stuff, like just off the cuff, like working with you collab where we didn't even see each other, right? Like you made it, I did it in my bedroom, with my stuff, sent it back over to you. And like that stuff sounds great. The only part of it that I really enjoy is just like the vibe that you get by being in a nice studio space. Once again, connecting to the ancestors, which might just be the kinds of music that's been made in that space before. Mm-hmm. And then just being able to set that date, being able to get your musicians to be excited about it and play their best because they're in this special place, and to just get the job done in a timely fashion. Those are the reasons. That's like, to me, what you're paying for in a studio, because you're right. You can, sound quality wise and, musicality, like I'll tell you right now, my takes are going to be potentially stronger at home because I can take my time, especially my vocal takes, because I'm not like, that's not my number one, you know what I mean? Like doing vocal takes in the studio, it's like I wish I could have done more of them slower and gotten that like really icy take. So I'm looking forward to doing that with the next album, like trying to do a little bit more, just being able to take more time, not having to worry about the finances and like picking and choosing what parts of the recording process we do in the $100 an hour studio or whatever it ends up being, and like which parts we just like do in the bedroom. Sure. With like a dope mic.
Getting a really great mic, and I think knowing what you're doing with an EQ and a compressor, pretty much.
Totally. Knowing what you're going for too. With the JC Proof stuff that we put out, I had a couple sounds that were a couple of things from the 70s and then a little bit of Christian ska. It was very much like a jazz and then like retro jazz sounds, and like we're going to be moving a little bit more in a pop direction. And I think just like having those concepts really well researched before you go into even the recording part, it's going to be really nice. I'm really excited for the next album, even though we just released this EP.
Yeah, man, I just the pressure of being in the studio,
it's a lot.
Like it breaks people, and
it does.
It broke my band up pretty much, to be honest. It really did. It broke my band up, like, or Live Island too.
Right.
Cause then I started researching computers and was like trying to convince the drummer, like, dude, if you could just play to the computer, then we can like add all these arpeggiators and like fake horns and like make this giant performance. And he was like,
yeah, well, you had that arranger's mind.
Yeah.
You wanted to use the studio as a tool, as an instrument.
And he saw it like kind of as an assault on his
creative freedom.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a human, so I'm not gonna play to a click.
I was like, all right, dude, I get you. And then it just didn't work.
Yeah, I mean,
eventually we just kind of went different ways.
Yeah, you went different ways.
But now it's funny because we're jamming again. I was like,
you and that drummer?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
After years and years and years, I was just like, I've been trying to get the water under the bridge the last couple years. Actually. Yeah. He's finally like, all right, come jam. And so me and Brett been going up there like once a month.
Going up to where?
He lives up in Washington, kind of north of Vancouver, and we just have been just trying to knock the dirt off, and just make it like a jazz experience where I'm like, okay, I promise not to bring the computer out, like just do whatever you want.
Well, you're interesting.
We're gonna
because
do whatever
you're
we want,
Like you play organic instruments, you're like an organic kind of music sort of dude, like I first met you when you came to the JC Proof Jam at Bottles with your flute.
Absolutely.
I think that was like the first time I met you.
Yeah.
We just rolled through, and then you also do the other thing. But then the danger, I feel like, is knowing when to engage which of those.
That was it. Is I just had to realize, like, if I don't want to lose Matt,
right,
I have to not expect him to do this thing that he doesn't want to do, no matter what I think about it,
Right.
And so, which obviously, I would rather have him as a player than
not.
Yeah. Than not. Yeah.
Caveat, I do prefer playing to a click, I'm going to be honest.
But that's what I'm saying, is that there's a thing to it where people who can't play to a click hate it, and I remember hating it, but then once you adopt it at a certain point, you're like, oh, wait. You're like, I can just trust that? Oh, I can do anything within that?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, it's going to vary. Like, it's never going to be perfect to a click. The thing about the click, and the thing about creating structure where sometimes you've been used to not having structure, is that, and I think this is true about so many things in the world, a little bit of structure now gives you a whole hell lot of freedom later. And if you can just remember that.
As a teacher.
Yes. Dude, structure now, freedom later.
Yeah.
Like, practice your scales now like a robot so you can express your deepest emotional feelings later.
Yes.
Like, that's heavy, man.
Yes.
And, like, no shade on drummer friend, or, like, I know plenty of drummers that don't do a click.
Yes.
And I get that, too, because, like, I do like that ebb and flow. I'm not saying I don't. But then just record a live album. If you're going to go into a studio, you should record a studio album. If you're going to record a live album, record a live album. It's not going to be to a click.
For sure.
Beautiful. Those are two separate artistic projects.
Yeah.
And they're both valuable. There's no hierarchy between them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where I was like, with Matt, I was like, if I can get him to even agree to play with me again,
Yeah.
then it's like, that's a jazz project. Even though it's a rock project, you know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
yeah, but the approach.
Yeah. I'm like, that's a jazz project. And now I can go do all the Live Island I want on my computer. You know? I can put like 30 horns and strings and like 10 arpeggiators.
Yeah. Maestro. That's awesome.
It's so silly.
Yeah, you do put out a lot of music under different project monikers. So I really respect that. Like, you have a lot of plants that you're growing, you know, in your creative garden.
Yeah, man, watch out. I'll put an arpeggiator on it, whatever.
Whatever it is, though, it's gonna have an arpeggiator.
I mean, just watch out, dude. What, you gotta keep me off the arp, man. Get in trouble.
I definitely remember being in my dad's a pianist. He was a church pianist, and he was also a music teacher. And so he had, like, not a full studio space, but he had, like, a room. We called it the computer room. You know, he had his synth. And I remember one summer going in there and, like, starting to mess around with it. And I remember discovering the arpeggiator. You know? Oh, great sound.
Yeah.
Not gonna knock the arpeggiator.
For sure. And you just get it going on octaves. You know?
Any chorus.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I remember having this conversation. There's this guy named Josh Ox in Ithaca where I went to school, and he was like this insane genius musician. Then he got into this crazy car accident where his head was nearly severed from his body, held on by a tendon.
No.
Wild, right? And he comes back, and you know he has some physical challenges that he has to deal with since then, but the mind still there, the creative genius still there. And he like had this theory about what he was always like thinking about, you know, the inner workings of music, and he always would talk about that upper the pedal point, like within a chorus, you know, like this the high note of the tonic or the fifth or whatever, that like is a big part of something being catchy. And like if you listen to lots of pop songs, they like do use that kind of a thing. Yeah, exactly.
Just do the whole thing.
That one note, and it's like, you know, because we love that, the candy of that sound, the repetition there. So that arpeggiator, I think, is a good idea.
Yeah.
Josh Ox approves, man.
Man, gnarly though. Get your head lopped off and just make it through. Just keep making music.
Dude, he makes the wildest music too. He had this group called the Octet, and I never played in it, but it would just be. I remember the drummer who was the grad student when I was a freshman, who was just like a killing drummer, and he would always just be like, "Yeah, this is the hardest music I've ever played." You know, so there's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
But it was good.
That's cool.
It was good stuff.
Gosh. Was that my cat?
Oh, I was wondering. I was like, I think we got some Jehovah's coming back through.
Some more Jehovah's.
We got some more Amazon packages.
Yeah, I don't know what that guy was doing, but I wasn't about to buy nothing.
I might have bought something. If it was a good product, I will always listen. Make my life easier. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not into...
I'm like, I don't know why. I'm like, I can be really nice, but I can also be like a jerk if someone's wasting my time or something, you know what I mean? Or like, I'm like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like,
we got 2 microphones set up.
And I waved him away, and he just looked at me and then like knocked on the door. I was like, what?
You have standards. You're like, if you were in his shoes, you would have gotten it. You know, and you just expect the same in return. I get it. I don't think you're being unreasonable. I'm in full support, Luis. Tell that guy off.
So
he was a nice guy, though.
No, I was just like, not a good time. He's like, oh.
But like, how often as a person who goes door to door, it's never going to be a good time.
That's what I'm saying. It's a bad.
It's dinner time right
job.
now.
It's a bad job. Let's go. I'll go down memory lane. I worked door to door selling like ADT security when I was a kid, like trying to, you know, which one of my many Joe jobs.
Is this like the summer job? You know?
Absolutely.
Okay, gotcha.
it's a friend of the family, kind of, you know, like, hey, my so and so's doing this job, he's making money, he wants to take you along, and so I go along, and we go right at dinner time because that's when they know people are going to be home.
Oh,
so they go. It's so disingenuous.
That's bad.
They go at dinner time and they have all these like keep your foot in the door phrases that they teach us because people they're like, hey, I'm having dinner, you know, and you have to be like, well, don't you care about your family? You know, because we're still insecure. You know what I mean?
I love that.
And I
you
was
have
like,
the tricks.
Like one day of that, I was like, I quit. On the drive home, I called him. I was like, yeah, I'm good, thanks, appreciate it. But anyways, these cats come up and they're like really nice, and I'm just doing
right.
I'm like, nah, dude, nah.
Yeah. Sales.
Like I know where the store is at. You're trying to sell me nothing.
you know that even that like kind of friendliness that comes across there's a motive behind it.
Yeah. Motive.
That's sales. I mean, I worked with Bose, the speaker sound company, good company. And I did when I first moved to Portland. That was the first job I had, was working sales with them, and it was kind of fun in the sense that you're like talking to people, learning about them because you're trying to like figure out, you know, how you can sell them.
Yeah.
But it's like weird, yeah, because you're trying to be buddy, but you have this motive, and like they're asking questions, and you're trying to make it seem like you're answering their questions authentically, but actually you're just trying to answer it in the best possible way so they'll buy the product.
For sure.
It's very disingenuous.
Yeah.
And that's like your job. I don't think that's like super healthy, honestly.
Yeah.
To be training yourself to be disingenuous.
Yeah.
So.
No, one day of that, I was like, you guys are joking.
Right.
And the other thing that was funny is that everyone had a character that they played. When they would go up to the door, they'd be like some different person, you know? Like, it was weird.
That's how they kept it fun.
It was weird, bro.
Dude, that's heavy.
It was weird.
Oh my God, you're going in. That's some thespian cult shit.
I was like, nah.
No. You didn't want to be a character? But who would your character be? Had you had to choose?
Oh.
What did the world miss out on because you quit that job, you know?
Well, if I could get away with it, I think I would be like, I would have to do like the surfer stoner guy.
Oh, nice.
You'd just be like, hey, you know, like, you know.
You're like, this guy's talking about security. I don't think he knows what he's talking about. But at the same time.
Hey, can I use your guys' bathroom?
Yeah. And then you know that window in the bathroom is an easy access point. You know, that's how you get in. That's your little trick. Oh my gosh. California surfer, bro.
You know.
Door to door.
Yeah.
That's some next level stuff. I'm grateful that. What's the weirdest? I feel like I don't have a very exciting, like, weird summer job story. I did work for a pumpkin patch making cider donuts. The Mormon-owned pumpkin patch.
That sounds good.
That was, yeah, it was tasty. I got burned, though. You got to watch out. Yeah, that's probably the most interesting sort of just, like, random job. Good family, though. The Vanderwerkens. Great people. They were always trying to get me to come to church, though. Always trying to get me to come to church.
No, they got to, man. That's what they got to do. They got to save you.
I was like, are you going to pay hourly for the church, too? Or is that? No.
Yeah, that's good. Well, man, thanks for coming and rapping with me.
Dude, are you kidding me? Luis, anytime I love getting a chance to just kick it and talk about music and life and whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, like, what else are we doing, you know? Other than just stoking connections and hanging out.
So, what's the best direction people should go if they want to find your stuff?
Oh, for the band, we are desperate for Instagram follows these days, let me tell you. We're open to follows and likes. No, yeah, find us on Instagram, you know, JAYSI Proof, JC Proof. And give us a follow. Also, I actually have an email list, which I'm pretty into. I'm into the old school email list. You know, a little bit more direct. You can actually give a more authentic picture of what's going on. You know, Instagram is just like content. You got to keep it active. But email list is like, hi, I'm actually going to like sit down and write this with a cup of coffee. You know, so shoot that email list over on a DM. And then we just put out our EP on Spotify, Closer. And so that's been fun, been submitting that to playlists and like getting some positive feedback. So find us on streaming platforms and give us the stream.
They've been bumping it on KMHD.
Dude,
man.
That's awesome. I love it. I keep saying that.
Yes, I was talking to Derek the other day and he was like, it was funny. He's like, you heard JC Proof's new album? I was like, yeah. I was like, I remixed the song on it. It Goes or whatever, and he was like, "Oh, that's a great song. That's a great
I
song."
love Derek, man.
So they're digging it.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's helpful too because it's like we can be out and we're doing the busk thing, right? So we're playing at the farmers markets now. So we're gonna try to do a rotation this summer. So catch us at the farmers markets.
Lucas's new.
The suitcase kit.
It's so sick.
Lucas on drums has a drum set that fits into a suitcase. The suitcase itself is the kick.
It sounds so good.
It sounds like a party.
It's like gong gong gong
Yeah.
gong.
He's like, I need to figure out how to deaden it.
I don't know, dude. I like it.
It's kind of like that lo-fi kind of fluffy
That's
sound,
what I'm
you know?
saying, dude. It's like, maybe that's just how it came across on the Instagram video. Maybe it's more
Through the
rough,
phone,
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. But I was like, that's a fun, like, distorted, like we're talking about that,
Right.
distortion from just overblowing something.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, like low. And that actually comes back to the studio thing. Like, that sounds are just sounds. Like, there's no hierarchy in what's good and what's bad. It's just,
Sure.
does it work? Does it not work?
For sure.
You know? So catch us at the farmers markets. But why I brought that up is because I love being there. And it's like, you got to build yourself up. And I want to tell people why they should listen to us. And I can say, KMHD's loving it. They're playing it. And people are like, oh, well, if somebody who I respect says they like this, then like maybe I'll give it a chance. And that's just how humans work.
Yo, KMHD loving it. Check it out.
Check it out. KMHD says it's at least 2 people, right? 2 people at KMHD
Yeah.
say it's good. So
Yeah.
I don't know about the rest of them. We didn't ask. But isn't that funny how humans, there's always going to be that group of people who are into the new thing. But then most people, they kind of want it to be filtered. They need to be told that it's worth checking out. And I get that too because we all only have so much time.
Man, that's half of why it's
Henry.
That's half of why I'm at KMHD, man, is
Yeah.
because, of course I just love, like, making playlists all the time, but it's like, that's work, actually, It's like I'm doing it because it's like I have an hour per night, like, what? Like, I get a channel an hour, like, oh, man, we're gonna load this up with all the homies.
Dude,
like,
it's incredible. And you're, like, putting it out there, and you curate it because you have an aesthetic that people... Like, I fuck with it. That's my favorite show, man. I would drive to my girlfriend's house in Johnson City, and it was always that time of night.
Yeah. I'm like, it's Louis.
Yeah, yes!
But it's funny because my voice on the radio, because I'm usually like, I'm like this close to the mic.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm like, stoned probably. And I'm like,
Good.
it's late. And I'm like,
Give us a taste.
it's Louis. Just like, but really, it's funny then because people get to know me, and I'm like a lot more energetic than I am on the. They're like, "Wait, are you the same guy?"
Well, but that's like your show,
Yeah.
Hey, talk about characters again.
For sure.
We all play different characters, but those characters are all just a different part of us.
Yeah.
We are infinite, multi-dimensional beings,
That's the 10 face, yeah.
Oh, man. See, I fuck with you, Luis, and obviously we already know that, but like, it's just like that deeper level. There's certain understandings, I feel like.
I was like, and the closer you get, the more masks I take off, right? It's like that's what it's about. Really.
Okay, but you were the one who built the mask, so it's not to say that the mask isn't you.
For sure.
But maybe there's a more vulnerable thing
Absolutely.
underneath.
Yeah.
The little soft baby skin.
Yeah. And it's a representation. I think everybody's that way.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm just owning it. I was listening to these people at the bar. They were talking about so-and-so's two-faced.
Right.
And I just had this maniacal thought. I was like, what about 10?
That's how you came up with 10 face?
Well, that was part of the reason,
Yeah.
because I was like...
You're like, two-face, I can do better than that.
I was like, because two-faced is bad almost,
Right.
But I was like, 10-faced is like... it's like a complex layer of character at which I'm going... nobody's walking through the world totally vulnerable, But I'm just like,
Right.
I'm like owning my layers, you know what I mean? Just like, I feel like everyone's full of layers, but like...
But they pretend that they're not.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like owning my layers. I'm like, and one of them's evil. Watch out. You know what I mean?
Duly warned. Absolutely, man. We all have that.
Or
Or like, yeah. Dude, I love that. That's beautiful. That's quite an image I'm thinking about. You walking around with layers of skin and masks on. Okay, maybe not that far. I'm going to scale it back. I dig that. And I think it's like those layers, or, another term people use is code switching. A lot of times, like, you might talk one way with your parents. You might talk one way with your homies from high school. You might talk a different way with your homies from like that city you moved to or college. And it's like you grow, you change, you make new connections with the people you're with so that you have like a specific way of interacting with them because you have like old stories that, you know, we all come up with our own lingo. Like how many times you have that one friend who's like always coming up with, I always had like Corey Don in college. He was always making up words that would be like the friend slang. And it was like almost annoying because there'd always be a new one every week and I'd always be behind. And then I wouldn't be using it right. And he would be like, oh, you're not using it right. Anyways, that's an old trauma. I got into it there. It's turned into a little therapy session. Yeah, whoa. But anyways, I guess what I'm saying is that like we all live and grow and then, but you don't ever lose those layers. You just add to them.
For sure.
I think.
They become more defined and more I guess
like intricate and complex. Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is, I was listening to this cat talk about you know, the yin yang and the light and the dark and this, and he was just like, we know these people walking through the world thinking that they're always trying to be good and always going for the light side, but they have the dark side too. Everybody's the whole yin yang,
right?
Know? And it's like if you don't deal with that dark side, it's going to pop out unexpectedly, you know? So it's like it's better to dive all the way in and understand...
In a controlled way, almost.
The whole... Yeah, exactly. And understand all about yourself to where, you know, sometimes you need to use the dark side, you know, to defend yourself or something, you know? It's like...
Because there's energy there.
Yeah.
That makes me think about like Scandinavian death metal. You know, they say like that's super popular up there. And they say that those people who are like going to these intense shows and just like rocking out on this like hellish sounding music. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it sounds cool.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're like the nicest people. And it makes me think about that. It's like, well, maybe they're just channeling that energy in this really effective, controlled way.
And then afterwards they're like,
yeah, sure, I'll get the paperwork done by Friday.
No, dude, that's a good point. It's like every metalhead I know is like a total like laugh all the time, like dorkish, like comic books and stuff. And then every comedian I know is actually depressed.
Yes.
Super dark. Like,
oh my God.
So, and that's like me. Like I make dark music, but I'm joking all the time.
That's what I was going to say, right? You're just putting that out in that way. Maybe that's what you have to do in order for you to be existing fully the rest of the time in like a better state. Yeah. So don't start writing positive music, Luis. Don't do it.
Get depressed.
So wait, if I'm writing positive music though, does that mean I'm secretly really dark?
I don't know. You have to make that. You have to make that determination.
No, but that's what I was saying. Is like my positive music is coming from a place of darkness, and then it's like how I'm processing it and turning it positive. So don't worry, we're good.
No,
we got a system.
I absolutely hear you, and I think, man, I think what you're doing is killer, and I think that's what we're here to do, is to take those complex emotions and when the complex emotions come through you, the way it processes, I like.
Totally. That's like the prism.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Amen to that, man.
All right, man. Thank you.
Cheers. Hell yeah, dude. Appreciate you.